Afternoon, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Um, a few days ago, in passing on a stream, I made a comment about how it might be cool to try and play a Lightning Greaves Crystal and Giant deck. And then Fine and Andy, like an hour later, had sketched out a deck list for me and sent in a donation, which gave me a great amount of joy. So the other day, I guess it was yesterday? No, 2 days ago now. We did a little bit of workshopping with the deck on stream, and now we're going to go and give it a try in a league. So, in case you're not familiar with Metalworker, because it's not really a card that sees Legacy play anymore, you can tap, reveal any number of artifact cards in your hand, and then get 2 colorless mana for each card revealed this way. So if you have 3 artifacts in your hand and you tap this, you get 6 mana, and then you can use it to play all sorts of crazy payoff stuff. Essentially, we have the 8 traditional soul lands in hopes of powering out these powerful 4-drops early on. We have Stonecoil Serpent, which is a fantastic way to deal with an early Delver of Secrets, or otherwise do some jump blocking, while also being a good Metalworker mana sink in the mid to late game. We have a couple of different ways to produce a lot of mana. Manifold Key plus Metalworker gets out of control very quickly, but even just Grim Monolith plus Manifold Key is pretty darn good. As far as the sideboard goes, we have like a whole bunch of traditional Karn tutor targets and then Leylines. When we get paired against like Oko type stuff, we have Ugins and Sorceress Spyglasses that we can bring in to shut that off. This is a little different from traditional Metalworker. Traditional Metalworker was a little bit bigger than this and often played Cloud Posts. I went back and forth with chat quite a bit about whether or not it was actually going to be correct to play Cloud Posts in this deck. But ultimately, we decided that since most of the cards that we're looking to power out are 4s, Ancient Tomb into City of Traders sets us up really well to just like sit at that amount of mana. Since we didn't play the Cloud Posts, we had a handful of like fun of slots. So I put 3 different card advantage cards into the mana base. We have an Inventor's Fair for a little bit of life gain and tutoring. We have a Seagate Wreckage. Pay 3 colorless and tap it to draw a card. Activate this only if you have no cards in hand. And then we have a Throne of the High City to let us become the monarch. Whether or not these will do anything, that's very unclear. But originally we had Wasteland in this slot, and it kind of felt like we were just going to be using our mana most of the time. And so I took Wastelands out of the deck. As far as the Lightning Greaves go, this can be used to protect the Crystalline Giant to give the Metalworker haste. Crystalline Giant, if it is protected, spirals out of control very quickly. Like most of the time when we've played one in other leagues, we've just been really hoping for an early hexproof counter. And then we could also use it to protect things like our Lodestone Golems, our Karns. That's really all that I have to say about this league. Let's just kind of hop into, about this deck list. Let's just kind of hop into a league with it. Please select a deck. Did I remember to borrow the cards for this? I did not remember to borrow the cards for this. That's why they're all funny and outlined. Alright, well, I can do this live. That's okay. Shout outs to my friends at Card Hoarder for giving me a loan account so I can always borrow the stuff that I need. So first, let's return the things that I've already ordered. That's from the Eldrazi stream the other day. Well, I don't really know that I can call it Eldrazi. The deck is kind of its own thing. Alright. Add missing cards to wish list. So this whole process is really easy. You just like load in the deck list that you want. You add it to your cart. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to wait like 30 seconds for my loan order to refresh. There we go. So I think the Blightsteel Colossus plan gets considerably worse once you're off of Kuldotha Forge Masters. So like it used to be that Lightning Greaves plus Kuldotha Forge Master meant that you got to 5 mana, you sacked 3 artifacts, often including the Forge Master itself, you got Blightsteel, and you just swung in with the like 11/11 Indestructible Infector or whatever, and like that got the job done the vast majority of the time. But those iterations of this deck existed prior to like Mystic Forge and the 4-mana Planeswalkers, and I don't know whether it's correct to still go with that plan. Like, that plan certainly isn't bad, but I don't know, I feel current Legacy is a little bit lower to the ground, and so if we can cap off a little bit closer to 4, that's probably a good thing. This is really an experimental stream anyway in the first place, because I'm not sure whether or not something like Metalworker is really even playable by modern Legacy standards. Like, there's probably a reason why no one has played this deck, basically, in years. But I'm willing to burn the play points to find out. Oh, we also have a Staff of Domination in the sideboard as a Karn tutor target. That's something that can help us go infinite once we have Metalworker. So we can pay 3 mana to untap target creature and 1 mana to untap Staff of Domination. So if we have 3 artifacts in hand, we can tap Metalworker, gain 6 mana, use 4 of that mana to untap Metalworker, netting 2 mana with each cycle, and repeat. And then we can like draw our whole deck, gain infinite life, do whatever it is that we need to do to win the game. Apologies for the slow start to the stream here. Usually I'm pretty good at remembering to to borrow the cards, but I wasn't expecting to do this stream this afternoon. I kind of expected to have some things to do for work, and that was just not the case today. So we were probably playing against Enchantress, in which case Chalice on 1 into Karn is probably pretty disgusting. I'll probably just start by blowing up my opponent's lands. Although, depending on what they do, it's possible I can just go for the immediate Mycosynth Lattice. I'm going to go with the coding here. I can still get the Lattice Lock next turn if my opponent doesn't play out something with power and toughness. Soul lands confirmed good. So my opponent would need to do something like put a Destiny Spinner on the board in this turn cycle. That would be something that would kind of force me to do something to deal with Karn. No, I mean, shipping times globally have gone up as a whole. So, like, I ordered it from Amazon last Tuesday, I think. And I'm still not going to get it until somewhere between Wednesday and Friday. And that was with the fastest shipping option. Ooh, a Living Wish could do things. A Collector Oof. Okay. That is admittedly pretty good. Big Oof confirmed. So... This doesn't ping, does it? No. This may just be the point where I just go aggro instead. I can make a large 6/6 creature, or I can make Crystalline Giant. I can also just... No, I can't. Well, I could... If I keep the Karn alive, the Mycosynth Lattice Dream is fine after one turn cycle. I can just, like, tick up this turn. Like, play Liquimetal Coating and then Crystalline Giant as a blocker. And animate the Liquimetal Coating as well. And then Lattice my opponent the following turn while I have two blockers on board. If I want to Lattice next turn, I can only play one creature this turn because I need 6 mana next turn. So I guess let's just get my Crystalline Giant going this turn. Bit of an awkward turn. Really was not expecting this game one. Like that's the power of Living Wish, though. Okay, so Destiny Spinner costs 4 to activate and turn something into a creature. I think I can go ahead and Lattice here. Crystalline Giant absorbs 1 attacker. Ooh. No, I can't Lattice here. If I Lattice here, then I can trade the Oof for Karn. That's not what I want to do. So I can play Stonecoil Serpent for X equals 4 this turn, and then Lattice next turn. Just gets awkward if my opponent dumps a whole bunch of enchantments into play. We have a real game of Magic now. My Chalice also has largely been inhibited. Do I have anything else in the sideboard that's interesting? Not really. But my opponent has to trade the oof. No. I'm displeased. And I think after all of that, I forgot to plus my Karn on nothing. Yeah, Walking Ballista. Wait. For the post-sideboard games, we'll have Ugin. But I think I'm good now. I think this is a very slow win, though. Because, like, there's oof on both sides. So I have to wait until my opponent's Elephant Grass is gone, and then I'll kill them. My opponent also decks first. Yeah, Crystalline Giant will randomly get Vigilance, and then I can start attacking with it. My opponent over there is trying to figure out, like, desperately, like, is there a way that I can win this? Yep, and they have decided the answer is no. Alright, cool. So, Ugin 100% comes in. That's probably it. Chalice and Trinisphere are both, like, okay, but not amazing, due to the presence of Destiny Spinner being able to, like, negate the power of Chalice. Do you think WotC has ever cared about its player base? I can't confirm any situations where they show they've cared. At least not recently. The last couple of weeks have just been like blow after blow after blow on the morale of Magic players. It has been really hard. No, I mean, I probably need to start hedging in other directions as far as content creation goes. Maybe these are fine. I don't know what to port out. Like, just in case Magic goes south. That's the first time I've ever felt like I needed to say something like that. Like, I'm just not 100% sure that, like, the game I love and thought that I would play forever is viable long term anymore. And that's crushing. My hand is a mana rock away from being insane. So I can turn to Trinisphere, which is okay. But then I'm gonna like play this like non-protected Karn afterwards, and like that's only if I draw another land. I'm gonna lose my city if I do that while Trinisphere is down. I think I'm gonna ship this one and just try to look for something that's a little more consistent. Okay, quick math check. City into Monolith. Monolith creates 3 mana. Use 1 of that mana. Go up to 5 mana. Karn on turn 1. Yes. Ooh. Yeah, and people are getting pretty tired of the, like, oh, hey, we made a major mistake, so now we're going to announce something that people are going to be excited about, and that'll take the pressure off of us for a little while. Do I just have turn 2 Mycosynth Lattice? City for 2, use 1, untap Monolith, that's 5, that's 6 total mana. I just do. I may be supposed to get Liquid Metal Coating there in case they play out something that I care about. That is not something that I care about. It's also not something that I care about. So, deck idea at least confirmed viable. And something that I talked about when Zerta first got banned was that I thought just like shoving the Grim Monoliths into an acceleration like 4-drop based deck would still be a totally fine plan even without Zerta. Now, Spatula of the Ages is good, people. I like Spatula of the Ages. They've donated to get Enchantress on the stream multiple times, including a really silly Estrid's Invocation build that I had a lot of fun with. USA Wolfchen, thank you very much for throwing your Twitch Prime money this way this month. I really do appreciate it. The support means a lot right now when there's a lot of negativity in Magic. Last week was hard. Like, my webcam broke, and the replacement was not cheap given circumstances. It took like a week to ship. We got hit with a couple of like terrible pieces of Magic news, or what I guess is like PR for them at this point, all at the same time. There's starting to be rumors going around that like schools may not like reopen properly in the fall. I might have to like continue doing this digital distance learning sort of thing. It's all in all just a disappointing time. Man, Wizards will take my money for anything at this point. Alright. So this is turn 1 Karn again, right? So it's just City, Monolith, Manifold Key, Untap, Karn. Yeah. It might even be better than that. I didn't do the math for the second key yet. Yeah, take care. Hope to see you around. So each Grim Monolith set nets 1 mana, right? Three, down to 2, untap. Go down again. Untap. This is just getting the keys into play so that we can use them later. So we'll get Liquid Metal Coating to put our opponent into a really weird position where they're incentivized to just, like, play a land, like a fetch land and pass. And then if they just do that, I will lattice them instead. Yeah, Reapel Cheap. I'm also a big fan of, like, Slay the Spire, and, like, Monster Train is new, but it shows great potential as well. Like, once I get the webcam, I think I'm going to do a metric shit ton of monster train content and see if I can get that to take off. It's not going to replace magic content or anything, but I need some ways to fill my time, and I think that's going to be a good way to do it. Alright, so I don't see Trinisphere being super useful. I see Sorcerer Spyglass being good, I see Leyline being good. I'm going to leave the Crypt in the sideboard as a Karn tutor target. I don't really think I need the Ugins. It seems like most of the time we can win by turning creatures sideways or Planeswalker abilities. Alright, what do I not really need or want? If my opponent's playing Punishing Fire, I guess the Metalworkers are kind of awkward, like since they die to it, whereas like Crystalline Giants and Lodestone Golems and Stonecoil Serpents don't. I hate to like submit a Metalworker deck and then board Metalworkers out. But like until I know whether or not my opponent is playing Punishing Fire, it seems correct to side those out. This one's going to be a mulligan. We have one mana source. Alright, so my opponent has now boarded in some stuff that makes them not a Giganta deck. The good old Chalice of the Void Manifold Key hand. I think we still can do better than this. I guess. So we throw back the Lightning Greaves here. And I guess the Stonecoil Serpent. Yeah, Force of Vigor seems like a safe assumption. Maybe Chalice of the Void should have come out instead of Metalworker. Hello, hello? Like, the Chalice when I'm on the play is, like, totally fine and reasonable, but on the draw, I don't know that it's good enough. Because, like, the Exploration comes down before this. I'm going to refill with water. You can't tell that I'm leaving, but I'm leaving for the next 30 seconds. Well, got a little spooky there. One of my lands gets wastelanded here. Just, like, very clearly. And then maybe both of these get Force of Vigor too. That's a thing that could occur. We won our first round pretty handily. We are up a game here, but it really feels like I'm going to lose this one. So my opponent gambled and discarded Thespian Stage. So all in all, that feels like a win to me. Even though I have another manifold key here, I'm going to go ahead and play out a Chalice on one in the hopes that it shuts off future gambles or crop rotations from just giving our opponent an easy combo win. Alright, so there's Punishing Fire. So boarding out the Metalworkers was probably correct. I can untap my Chalice of the Void if I need to, so that's cool. Alright, so we are any land from just playing Karn and going ham. I do need to just do it quickly before my opponent finds another Thespian stage or just like a threat they can play. That'll do. So what's really interesting here is that if my opponent has Force of Vigor, I should not untap this Grim Monolith this turn. So untapping the Grim Monolith doesn't gain me a lot, so I think I'm not going to do it. And because of like Punishing Fire reasons, I guess I should just plus this. And then just take whatever card I want with it next turn. How much damage can my opponent do with Punishing Fire? So they cast it. Yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and plus the Karn on nothing and then pass. Okay, so we are now in a great position, and I just have to decide what I am going to do. Karn lives through the one Punishing Fire that my opponent can cast. They cannot crop rotation. They can Force of Vigor. So if they have Force of Vigor, they could float mana and get rid of... Yeah, I guess Abrupt Decay is a thing, too. I think I just go for the Lattice Lock. Alright, it was that easy. Okay. 2040 so far, off the power of Grim Monolith. Card's still busted even with Zertigon. Fine and Andy, thank you for your continued support. I hope you're enjoying this one so far. I certainly am. Oh, yeah. Hey, Min, welcome. We are currently 2040 with Mud, playing Magic like it's 2015. Yeah, Min, the new webcam is in town. It just has not made it to my apartment yet. I am patiently biding my time and waiting. Yeah, everything's just kind of like take a bit deep breath at this point and just be like, yes, yes, a week and a half for shipping is fine because I have no choices. That is the shipping speed. That is the fastest. Um, okay, so with this hand, I can play land into city, and then play turn 2 metalworker. On turn 3, I will have 9 mana. I could make, well, I could have 11 mana. So I could make a very, 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 very large stone coil serpent. I'm going to keep this hand. Yeah, so my dad, I don't really like Tropical Island. I guess very large stone coil serpents are great against Delver. Yeah, my dad has to order tech in large quantities from time to time. I don't mind taking some extra damage here to do this. And, like, he was trying to order, 60 computers or something like that to set up a lab. And they were just like, we can do that, but it'll be a, huge delay. I don't remember exactly what he was ordering. It might not even have been computers, but it was some sort of electronic equipment of some nature. And the delay was just pretty crazy. Yeah, if these snacks don't resolve, it's bad. The Ponder also did not shuffle, so they are flipping. I am not going to be playing around days here. I think I need to jam Stonecoil Serpent into Stonecoil Serpent to stop the bleeding. I'm effectively at 15 life due to my Ancient Tomb. But more realistically, I'm probably at like 11 or 9 life due to the number of times that I'm going to need to tap this Ancient Tomb over time. So I'm going to not play around days, but play around Bolt by making these 4/4s. Fuck! No, it's not risky. You get to play around one of the 2 cards, but you can't play around around both. Yeah, see, like there's the lightning bolt that I played around. They just happen to have both of them. Fuck! That is rough. Alright, So I can make a large Stone Coil Serpent and go to 7. They attack with Delver and Pyromancer. 5 gets through, and then I'm just dead. Okay. GG. There are worlds involving Blast Zone, maybe? Instead of Stone Coil Serpent? So what if I Blast Zone away everything? So Blast Zone costs 3 a sack, so it would cost me my turn, or I could make a Stone Coil Serpent for X equals 1. I take 2 to get rid of the Delvers, which puts me to 7. Young Pyromancer attacks me for 2, putting me to 5. I get Lightning Bolted down to 3. Alternatively, I play Stone Coil Serpent for... What do I play this Stone Coil Serpent for? Like, it has to be at least X equals 4 to survive the bolt. And if it doesn't survive the bolt, it's bad. I'm not going to show my opponent more cards here. I can live for 1 to 2 more turns, but because my opponent had that daze followed by the lightning bolt, I think my chances of winning this game are less than like 5%, and that's probably being very generous. Like, I think I'm about 99% likely to lose that game. So like, we're just going to ship that and move on. We feel pretty soft to Delver. Lightning Bolt's very inconvenient for us. This has 3 toughness, this has 3 toughness, this has 3 toughness, so like bolts are going to be great and counterspells are going to be great. I also don't know that we really get to board. So like, the Karns aren't amazing, and I probably need to leave the Ballista in the board as a tutor target, and that effectively gives us 2 tutor targets here. So I think my opponent gets to improve their deck while I don't get to improve my deck. And that's never the position you want to be in. Otherwise, I do something like aggressively board out Karn the Great Creators and like board these in. Not good. We could just board in the Staff of Domination as 4 mana, tap down a Delver. It's not. I can turn 1 Metalworker. I'm going to keep this hand. And then there's actually a question of whether or not I do turn 1 Metalworker, or whether I keep Grim Monolith to play... Alright, like, step 1, see if this resolves. Okay, we don't need to think about it. But it was actually pretty interesting there, like, whether or not I would tap the Grim Monolith to play Metalworker. That's a very awkward draw. Because I want the Chalice in play before the Lodestone Golem to protect the Lodestone Golems from Bolt. Yeah, I think I would have played the Metalworker as well, but it's weird because it exposes things to Bolt. No, I think we just like care about Lightning Bolt given this hand. So the awkward thing is that if they get Wasteland as a follow-up, it's so bad for me. Like, I will just lose the game to the Delta that's in play if they Wasteland me. But I think they would have Wastelanded me if they had it. Oh, they were like F6'd. Okay, cool. Alright, so now we just need to not lose to this Delver. And we can decide how to do that. It's probably going to be... Ooh. Interesting. I think I need to race this game. I don't think I can dick around with Karn. I think this is just like play Lodestone into Lodestone and clock them back so they can't draw a billion things off Sylvan Library. I'm only comfortable doing this since the Chalice on 1 is in play. Otherwise, I don't know that I would just jam this directly into Lightning Bolt. Opponent finding like a Tarmogoyf or a Young Pyromancer here is pretty awkward for me, or True Name. I can Metalworker into Lightning Greaves, reveal 2, then not play Lodestone afterwards, but I'm close. I think we just mitigate the power of the Young Pyromancer to create chump blockers and hope that this gets there. I don't think I get to tap the Ancient Tomb another time this game, because it's the difference between my opponent getting one more Delver attack or not. Why not play land? So my opponent could trade... Oh, this is super weird. I think I have to attack and incentivize my opponent to block. So, like, I attack both, and then I try to resolve a Metalworker as a blocker afterwards. The question is, do I attack before or afterwards? If I attack afterwards, it's easier for my opponent to counter, because one of my Lodestone Golems might be dead. But my opponent also might just, like, chump block. I guess if they chump block, then my Metalworker 100% resolves, and, like, that's fine. Yeah, fine, Andy. That's why I decided on the line that I took. So I think they're going to chump block here now and try to, like, get me on the swing back here, hoping I don't have another creature. But I do have another creature, and it is uncounterable. So now I die to something like Brazen Borrower. Like Brazen Borrower or a Braid to answer the Metalworker kills me. Otherwise, I live to fight another day, and may still just be dead to the Delver. Yep, I mean, that's exactly the line I highlighted as, like, being what killed us. Sylvan Library's card selection wins the day again. What a bully. I mean, but when I put this deck together, I was expecting it to be soft to Delver, right? I did. That's really what I should have done. So, like, we don't have removal spells, like any. We're just fine with opponents beating us if they can get an early aggressive start backed up with, like, multiple pieces of counter magic. That game, we were pretty good at just going aggro. And we just didn't have time to deploy the Lightning Greaves. Like, the Lightning Greaves, if we just had, like, the tiniest bit more mana, would have won that game. Like, Lightning Greaves would have gone on Metalworker that one turn. I would have played Metalworker plus a Lodestone Golem, attacked with a Lodestone Golem a turn earlier, then, like, had the Metalworker to be a blocker. Turn 1 Metalworker, turn 2 Lodestone Golem. And anything else that I draw, I also play, because Darksteel Citadels are artifacts that I can reveal for Metalworker. I've got to keep this, right? Like, it's the law. I believe it is the law that I have to keep this hand. YOLO. Opponent may have just read Metalworker for the first time. Unclear. Oh. This is a very good Bone Crusher Giant. This is a very good Bone Crusher Giant. Don't Bone Crusher Giant me. Just, like, play a Goblin. Well, that is going to be very good. It's not game-winning or anything, but it's very good. Yeah, don't worry, we have Crystalline Giant. I'm going to assume that we can do everything. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 4, 7, 11. Yeah. And we're going to choose not to play a land and just keep our Metalworker as something that's disgustingly powerful. Our opponent probably gets to keep the Lodestone Golem from attacking in the short term, but they're going to have trouble emptying their hand between Trinisphere and Lodestone. Man, give me a Karn. Give me a Karn off the top for great justice. Come on, Karn. Buried Ruin. That's less good. I'd probably play that, right? Like, and just start working towards land drops. Like, maybe not playing these, but playing future lands. It costs me 1 mana short term, but probably nets me mana long term. I mean, my ideal chalice number is 4. I think. It's weird, because that also shuts off my planeswalkers, which are my best way to deal with Ensnaring Bridge, though. So... IDK. Alright, well, Metalworker is gonna be doing great things. No one can argue that. Between this Ancient Tomb and Metalworker, we actually might just kill our opponent. I'm not, like, super exaggerating either. Yeah, that bails my opponent out of having to tap the Ancient Tomb every turn. This is bad. So Lattice still costs 6. Okay, so they're just going to go for coding this turn. Awkward Darksteel Citadels are awkward, because these are not going to tap for mana. I think I will play one out anyway. It is unfortunate that Ensnaring Bridge is such a good Magic card. Prevented like 30 or so, not 30, probably like 20 Lodestone damage goal in this game. It was clutch. That is correct. I guess, like, technically, I still have some outs, but I'm pretty dead here. I'm just gonna, like, kind of watch how my opponent plays this game and use that to gain some information. Like, I would love to see a couple more cards out of my opponent's deck, for example. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to get to. But so, for example, seeing something like Legion War Boss would give me a huge amount of information about my opponent's exact build. But it may just be that I'm bored and I should concede. I think I need one of, like, Soul Land or a creature this turn in order to have a chance. Yeah. Alright. I know I just talked about, like, wanting to see more, but, like, I'm gonna move on. Oh yeah, Trinisphere does make it so I don't have outs, you're right. So my own Chalices and Trinispheres are pretty awkward in this matchup, so I'll look to board out as many of those as I can. I can pretty freely board in 2 of the 3 copies of Sorcerer Spyglass. Ugin coming in is easy. I will probably just board in the Staff of Domination. Then I have a pretty varied Karn package without hurting myself too much. Let's go with the Chalices out and 1 Trinisphere out. Fiery Confluence is something that I'm going to have to watch out for from my opponent. That will be something that, like, really, really wrecks me. Yes. We'll see how opponent chooses to play this one. Why are there 8 cards here? Oh, Stomp and Bone Crusher Giant separately, I see. Like, we'll see how highly my opponent values just putting a Bone Crusher Giant into play on turn 1. They could choose to, like, Chrome Mox, Abrade, and just play Bone Crusher into Scab Clan and go a very aggressive route that costs them their lands. They drew a Spirit Guide, which is a pretty hot draw. So now they're just holding up Stomp. I need to get them to use Abrade so that I can essentially win this game via Ensnaring Bridge. So I'm going to do something kind of interesting here. I'm going to play a Karn. That part's not interesting. I'm now going to, like, wait and see if my opponent floats mana, and they did not. So they could have floated mana so that they could stomp Karn and decrease Karn's loyalty. Alright, so now my opponent has Scab Clan or not Scab Clan, has Bone Crusher Giant Hardcast as a play for turn off City of Treasures. How do I get them to use the Abrade? That's my current question. So this is what I get with the second Karn to win the game. So I think Liquid Metal Coating is an attractive Abrade target. Okay, so they are just going to hold up Abrade in this turn cycle, or hold up Stomp. Still got all these Karn. So I can trade Liquid Metal Coating for one of their lands and Abrade. I am 100% on board with that plan. So now they Abrade this. I think this game's definitely more interesting if they had floated mana and shocked Karn. Gives them more live future top decks. So now the next question is, would I like to just start making land drops? I think I would like to start making land drops for Ensnaring Bridge reasons. I end up with one less mana next turn, potentially, or two less if I spike a soul land. But then I end up being in a better position beyond that. Okay. This is a game where I may end up Tormod scripting myself to put Liquid Metal Coating back in the sideboard. If I minus Karn, it exposes it to Bonecrusher Giant Shock and will free up this mana source. So I kind of just want to plus on their Mox and like get that out of the way forever. Okay, so they drew land, so now they can like Scab Clan and give it haste. And then they can either choose to attack me or attack Karn, depending on like what they value more. Okay, they attack me. Yeah, that's all fine and good. Ensnaring Bridge beats this long term. Kind of. Crystalline Giant will definitely beat that. Lifelink. That's fantastic. We're just going to grab a Walking Ballista here. And cast that on X equals 3 eventually to kill a Scab Clan. I may also just trade Crystalline Giant for Scab Clan. It feels kind of like I'm supposed to let the Karn go, though. It's not doing a ton, and I don't... In the short term, I don't see Ensnaring Bridge being important, and in the long term, if it is important, I deal with it in other ways. So now we're just hoping for some form of evasion on Crystalline Giant. And what's the wording on Bone Crusher? Target of a spell, not or ability of a spell. Reach. Would I be okay with trading this? No. I don't think so. I'd rather trade it defensively if I'm going to trade it. I also don't want to trade it yet. I will trade a Lodestone Golem for a Scab Clan, though. We can dismiss those. We know about those now. Land? Land would be great. Nice. I can see what counter Crystalline Giant gets, but then I'm probably just nuking Scab Clan. Hold on, let me get that. New webcam! Alright, I'm gonna kill the Scab Clan. We're just gonna get that out of the way. Crash in for 4 lifelink. Notably, the Crystalline Giant is now out of Fiery Confluence sweeping range. And we already have Chandra covered via the Sorcerer Spyglass. Opponent appears to be about out of gas. Ooh, well, that's cool if we get 2 more lands. View sideboard for a second. I can play Karn, but honestly, it might just be better to build up more counters on Walking Ballista. That is unclear to me. Let's see what counter I get. Oh, flying. Great. Yeah, So the other thing I can do is just, like, play Karn and get Crypt in this turn cycle. Crypt myself, put a Lodestone Golem and Lick Me Metal Claw. Never mind. I've talked myself into this. Yeah, but this Karn is going to die. Like, this first Karn. We can get a Lattice with the second Karn. Well, yeah, I wanna give myself options. Hmm. That's pretty good. So this is the sort of scenario for, like, why I wanted to get Tormod's Crypt. It's because it allows me to now rebuy anything that just hit my graveyard with the next Karn. We're really just hoping to draw lands, like, both for Ugin and for Karn math reasons. So like Karn plus a 3-drop is considerably better than Karn plus not a 3-drop next turn. Nice. Bridge. Bridge. Sure. That is not a problem for me. We have access to Karn to shut that off. We also just have access to Ugin and nuke everything. So this leaves us at 4 loyalty. And then I'll lattice lock next turn. What do you mean just lattice here? Yeah, alright, fine. We can just lattice here. I have the bridge already. But I want to play the Ugin. But yeah. Well, the problem is that they're probably going to concede to the lattice, and then I don't get to play Ugin. Oh, they didn't concede. That's cool. Now I get to play the Ugin. Fuck! See, this is why I didn't want to take the line of playing lattice. I didn't get to play Ugin. I don't think I changed anything about my boarding. The Karns really constrict how I board. So this is turn 2, play Metalworker. Turn 3, as of right now, Metalworker will be producing 2, 4, 6 mana. So I can do both of these things. I think this is a little slow and a little soft to removal, but I think I'd keep it anyway. There's also just like times where I rip a Monolith or a Soul Land and just go ham earlier. Between the Ancient Tomb and the Rabble Master, I'm probably dead if my opponent has a follow-up threat or a removal spell for Metalworker. JK, we might be alright. So artifacts for this are move over are these. So Metalworker produces 6 mana. In case I draw City of Traders, I think I'm going to play Buried Ruin this turn, so as to like not take extra damage before I need to. Yeah, Reapple Cheap, just when you figure out what you want the list to be, let me know. And just like tag me in the sub channel or send me a DM on Discord. Regardless, I'll probably be playing your deck Thursday night. That's what beats us. That shuts off Metalworker into Ugin. That's super unfortunate. I can play a 1/2 Metalworker this turn, block a Goblin. Yeah, I'm dead here. That's a shame. Turn 3 Ugin was going to be hot. Actually, it was going to be more than turn 3 Ugin. It was going to be turn 3 Ugin, I think, plus Karn. Yeah, so early aggressive creatures are definitely spooky for this deck without playing Ensnaring Bridge. So it may be that, like, either I need to go more all in on the aggressive creature plan, or I need to go more all in on the controlling plan. If I go more all in on the controlling plan, I need more removal. If I go all in on the aggressive plan, I eliminate the Karn Great Creator side for more aggressive artifact creatures. I won the die roll. How about a Grim Monolith opener? No? I will accept Chalice on 1 into Karn. It's awkward that we're going to shut off our Manifold Key, but, we accept that as a deck building cost. Take your Arkham's Astrolabes and shove them straight up your puzzled periwinkle. Opponent has showed me basic island before conceding. Alright. So I'm going to assume that we are playing against some sort of Yorion control deck. Ugin will be good. Sorcerous Spyglass for Oko, or even fetch lands early. We'll totally be fine. Staff of Domination as a board in is not unreasonable. I think I just want to play as many cards that are threatening on their own as I can. So that probably means cutting some number of these cards for these. I think we do this. Like, the metal workers are going to die to every piece of removal that they are playing. And it's just going to be one more thing that gets caught up in a Dead of Winter and makes it more likely that I get X for 1. Actually, 1 Manifold Key out and keep a Trinosphere is probably better. The Manifold Keys enable the most disgusting opening hands. But I really don't want to draw a second in a game in a lot of scenarios. And if I'm boarding out the metal workers, they get a little worse on their own. Weird opening hand. It says turn 1 double Manifold Key, which does nothing right now. Into turn 2 Lodestone or Karn. I think I keep this, even though like these are soft. I have the bailout for if everything goes absolutely wrong. And if I were to draw a Grim Monolith... Oh, buddy. What? Okay, well, I wasn't expecting that, but Karn's going to be good against that. So we're probably playing against, like, blue, green, Yoriad Merfolk? Question mark? I feel like I saw LSV tweet out some terrible Ether Vial deck list. Hold on. It may be something that looks like this. A Winter Orb, huh? Okay. Marja, thank you very much for your continued support. I'll get to your question in a minute. I want to figure out what's up with this turn first. So there's 4 Force of Wills, 3 Force of Negations that I need to be thinking about here. Not Dazes. So I'm going to play my Grim Monolith and see if it resolves before making any other decisions. Ooh, buddy. Alright. 3. Untap this. 3, 1. Untap this. So I can go up to 4, 7, 8. So I can play Karn followed by Lodestone Golem rather than just playing Ugin this turn. No, Karn shuts off Ether Vial. And I can still Ugin through my Lodestone Golem tax. Like, Karn lets me know whether or not I have to be worried about anything coming down off the vial. I do not. I think I'm just going to do this. I don't see how I lose from here. Yeah. All right. So what did we learn this league? I'm gonna get everything on screen here and do a debrief. Okay. That was indeed an acceptable turn two. I enjoyed it a lot. Ripping Grim Monolith is good. And that was really my first piece of feedback. Number one, like, Grim Monolith is absolutely an insane Magic card, and I think more colorless decks should be trying it out. Or not necessarily colorless decks, more stompy decks should be trying it out. The acceleration that it gives you, especially if you do something else to, like, try and break the side effect of Grim Monolith, it's so incredibly impressive. So, Grim Monolith into, like, turn one Giant or Trinisphere is, like, good, but Grim Monolith allowing you to play one of these things ahead of schedule was absolutely disgusting. And when coupled with the Manifold Keys, it just got silly. So, like, on many of the, like, Zerda draws, like, you didn't even play your Zerda and win. You just, like, played a Grim Monolith into a 4-drop, and that carried the game on its own. And that, like, very much was still true for this deck. Crystal and Giant continued to do a decent amount of work. Again, in these Ancient Tomb Shells, it's a really interesting threat. It spirals out of control over time versus fair decks, but it does take a few turns. Stonecoil Serpent was okay this league. It would have been very good in our match versus Delver had it resolved, but we, like, savagely got dazed in order to play around Lightning Bolt, but they had the Bolt too, so, like, say la vie. We didn't quite live the dream of, like, casting a Stonecoil Serpent for, like, 12 or anything like that. But we did have a few Metalworker turns where we had the Darksteel Citadels in hand and, like, made 6 or 8 mana with Metalworkers. Overall, Grim Monolith plus Karn the Great Creator is a great combo, and I think more people should be exploring design space there to see where it can go. Ultimately, a lot of our cute utility lands didn't really do things this league, but I don't really know that I would have wanted these to be wastelands either. Like, I just want my mana to be sitting in play so I can do cool things with it. So it may be that, like, there should just be, even over the Buried Ruins. We didn't activate Buried Ruin a single time in this league. So it's possible that, like, some portion of this stuff should just be a Cloud Post portion of the deck, and I should give up on some of the early aggressive elements to try to play a more 4-drop centric deck. Wastelands might have been nice against the Red Prison deck. Maybe on, like, turn 1 or 2, but, like, long term, I need a lot of mana in that matchup, and they're also going to Blood Moon, so I don't really know. But, like, this deck definitely felt viable, and I think if I told a lot of people, like, yeah, I'm playing Mud today, they would have been like, good luck with your 05, sir. But we ended up 3-2. Pretty happy with that. And, like, definitely feel like the deck can still be improved as well. Yeah, Traxos is, like, certainly interesting in a Manifold Key deck. I think that's a great card to explore. My question with it, though, is, like, is there still enough Caracas running around in the format where that, like, legendary creatures, especially those with downsides or those that are expensive, are just unplayable? But I think Traxos is, like, a good card to explore moving forward. Especially if you, like, go with an aggressive variant of this deck. I don't know. Another thing you could do with this deck is, like, play Serum Powders and just try to mulligan a little bit more to where you get, like, Grim Monolith Manifold Key openers. Unclear. Overall, I had a lot of fun playing this there. My only regret is not getting to cast that Ugin when I was already winning so hard. Just wanted to play the big dragon, but they took it away from me. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this stream today. In all likelihood, Thursday is gonna be my last, like, proper day of work. So expect to see a decent amount of summer streams from me. I'm also going to be starting to do some content production for Monster Train. I've been having a whole lot of fun with that game. Highly recommend picking up that one if you're looking for something else besides Magic to kill some time. Yo, me question, mate. What about it? What is your question? I realize you can't see my face as I'm making, like, faces as I wait, but that's okay. Yeah, been having a ton of fun with Monster Train. Oh, the question when they subbed. Hold up. How many things need to get banned for D&T to not be terrible? Astrolabe, Oko, Uro, Arcanist, Plague Engineer would probably do it. 5? 5 would probably do it. We could probably start talking at 1. Like, we can start talking again at Oko. But it's tough. It's tough. What was the record? Lumberboy, we ended up 3-2 with this. It was a very, very good, very entertaining stream. Grim Monolith confirmed bonkers. All right, folks, that's all I'm going to have for you today. I'm going to spend some time uploading videos to YouTube. I've got a couple extra things queued up I need to upload, and then hopefully set up the new webcam. Have a great rest of the day. I'm going to turn you over to Arkin.